Alrighty. Yeah. Hello, my fellow foam flinging enthusiasts. This is Andrew, aka Dart Sweep, and welcome to another episode of the Foam Zone. Just for everyone that may be tuning in for the first time, or that is new, just to give you a little info, the Foam Zone is a bi-weekly live streaming show where we feature guests and discuss everything that is foam flinging related, and sometimes more. We will be live streaming every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. exclusively on the World Foam Alliance YouTube channel. And if you'd like to call in with any questions or anything like that, hit up the Discord. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest. Last week we had Boomstick Mods, and this week I have another very special guest that I've had the personal pleasure of getting a chance to get to know as well as fling foam with. I met Anthony at NWAR 2022, and also came down to the Maryland Mayhem event that we had this past year. And also we got to slay some Zeds at the Foam Nation Pennsylvania Survival Fest. So without further ado, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce my friend, Anthony Stewart, aka MaritimeFoam.
Hello. Hello, everyone. That was such a good introduction. I don't have to say my name, who I am. You covered it. I was just trying to be there and look pretty for the stream, you know?
You always look pretty.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's kind of cool that we've actually, because I know for the first year or so of doing this stuff, like all of my contact with anyone in the hobby was watching their videos and maybe somebody responding to a comment. So it's cool that we've actually played three different, played in 3 different events now. So that's pretty great, and more to come.
So, well, we've already introduced who you are, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. And you can keep me honest with just like make a buzzer noise when I'm going on too long, because I know we're trying to keep a tight show. So yeah, I'm Anthony Stewart. I am on the east coast of Canada, in the province of New Brunswick. If you don't know where New Brunswick is, it's above Maine and above Nova Scotia. I live in the Atlantic province that no one's heard of. People have generally heard of Nova Scotia. They've heard of PEI with Anne of Green Gables and potatoes. They've heard of Newfoundland, and a lot of them haven't heard of New Brunswick, but it's good too. So yeah, I kind of got into this whole hobby pretty recently compared to a lot of people that I've met. At the start of COVID, I picked up some rival blasters. Thought it was cool that they were for like 14 plus. I'm like, oh, I'm 14 plus, and thought they were cool. Found just from some Googling from there, went on a little bit of a buying spree, because we a lot of us had those packages. That sounds very like. I was fortunate enough to be able to indulge in some packages over COVID, I guess, when we were home. So I had a few things coming from Amazon, like a Nemesis, and the Prometheus was on sale. So I kind of grew this rival collection. Then I got checking out of darts, and that led me to my very first kind of soldering project, which was the Jupiter. This Jupiter has kind of been made into a half Jupiter, half rival wrist gauntlet, but it kind of went from there. Then I started doing a few parties because I had a collection that was so big it was giving me anxiety that it was just amassing. So I kind of ran a bunch of parties for a while, and then when that it didn't really die down, I just kind of took a break through the different COVID flares, and then I started doing the YouTube thing, and found that was a lot of fun. So that's like my my accelerated path. Like people talk about old blasters, and I'll be in discussions about like the blasters back in the day. I know about them and I know what the mods were, but I'm a poser because I wasn't there. I'm just like, I'm still watching videos that are like 8-year-olds going, 8 years old going, ooh, interesting. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're very similar in the regards that I am relatively new to the hobby as well. I started during the pandemic as well. Same thing, went to Target, grabbed a rival blaster, ended up plinking at home, and I was like, oh man, this is cool. I wonder if there are other people out there that actually get together and have Nerf wars. And sure enough, as many of you may or may not know, the Maryland area is extremely spoiled with foam flinging opportunities. I'm not quite sure how it is. It is up there, up north, but
it's
I know
me.
that. Yeah,
It's
I know
just
our
me up
friends. Well, we know Al the Geek is from Canada. Our friends Jeff Blue and Jeff Hicks
For
run
sure.
a group up.
Just me in
Brunswick.
my area of Canada.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff in the Ontario, like in the middle.
Yeah, and Legit Bread is from Canada as well. So you're amongst good company. It appears to be. So, where did the name MaritimeFoam come from?
So yeah, I actually get asked that a fair bit, and it's not a super exciting answer. When I was doing it from the start, I did want to avoid having Nerf in my name. I just thought, I wanted to keep it more general. I went with MaritimeFoam because at the time the region I live in is called the Maritimes, and maritime is like a nautical, a nautical term. I'm right on the coast. I can see the ocean from like right now. And I also, because I was running some parties and I wanted to do, and I still want to do and have done a couple community events, I kind of have a bit of a dream of in a year or two, like organizing an HVZ. And, it won't be very big because it's a long way for people to go, but just to introduce more people even within, I am meeting more and more people within the Atlanta provinces. I know there's a Joseph Grant here on the stream. I met him, he's down in Halifax. We met because he bought some Nerf off me from the back of my trunk. So I wanted something that if people found it online, they would also, if they were from here, they would associate that as, oh, that's a company or a person that's here. Because if you're in St. John or if you're in New Brunswick and you're looking for, if you're just looking for like Nerf party, you might get search results from everywhere. So if it comes up MaritimeFoam, people are going to be like, well, it's at least within my provinces. So it was actually like a little bit practical. And I just thought it was, I like the sea, I like the ocean. So I thought that was a nice little tribute to where I am.
For sure. Absolutely. And I just do want to quickly just mention, I think both Anthony and I and the World Foam Alliance in general would like to thank Brad from American Foam, who graciously rescheduled his stream to a later time. I'm not sure time or date, but we appreciate you, Brad, for helping us out with that. Also, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the World Foam Alliance YouTube channel. And of course, feel free to leave comments down in the comments section. As we continue, I think one question I ask everyone, just because I have my opinion about this, of what I enjoy and what attracts me to the hobby, but what is it that you love and what is it that attracted you to this hobby and community specifically?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I like about it and why I think it's kind of, I think, in a lot of ways, it's kind of the ultimate catch-all for so many people. That was one thing I really liked about going to my first HVZ. It was like, oh, what a range of, fitness, ages, just like people obviously with like a ton of different backgrounds. And it's also, so it's inclusive that way. It's also pretty inclusive. You don't have to have a lot of money to do this stuff or join a club or play some games. Between thrifting things and, especially if you get to know a group, chances are before you know it, you'll either get a loaner from somebody that's, a little bit more powerful if that's what you need, or some hand-me-down parts or whatever. So I like that part of it. I also like that it can scale so broadly. I did a YouTube video once that basically was just like me with like a bunch of different stuff. I had like a foam sword, a nightingale, like a D-Dart Tempest, and a couple other things. And I was like, what I love about Nerf is like, or about the hobby is this, and this are the same hobby. So I think, where is he? I have like a little like hedgehog that you like boop his nose and he fires darts in the air that I've always wanted to I always wanted to build that into a rail mount and paint him up like a punk rocker and have like a little dart shower thing on the front of a blaster. Like, I just like that it goes from like high FPS tournament stuff right down to super silly stuff. And I definitely love that part of it. Like, I have blasters that are very powerful, but like I'll never be someone who like, oh, all of my blasters are now 400 FPS plus, bro. Like, that'll never ever be me, I don't think. So.
All right. Yeah, I think that's one thing as I've gotten to know you over the time is what I really kind of admire and appreciate about you is that you really are in it for the fun aspect of it. For me, I come from a competitive sports background, so, I'm in it to win it, but sometimes I have to remind myself, it's really all about just having fun and flinging foam with your friends in the end. Because at the end of the day, we are still playing with kids' toys, even though at times they definitely don't feel like kids' toys. So
for sure. It's cool though too. Like, I had a night over at I have a little Nerf arena space in my partner's board game cafe, kind of in the middle. And one of the nights that the board game part wasn't open, I had kind of a takeover night, and we did 150 FPS cap, and we just did a bunch of different games, and it was fun. Like, we were trying to win for sure. We were using like a bunch of darts and stuff. So like, I just like that you can do that one day. Like, the Maryland Mayhem was like the perfect weekend for me, where it was, getting to play in the tournament was really cool, which is pretty, that's in the serious side of it. Then all the HVC stuff, and then kind of topped off with like family friendly, all kinds of games and everything on Sunday. Like, that was, I do genuinely like all of it. So yeah.
And another thing that, I think we came into it at a really interesting time, because I think the Mark 1.1 had just been released, and then like the Nexus Pro came out relatively close after that. And then we just were spoiled with kind of all these different kind of fun ammo types between Mega Double XL, and 50 cal balls, and different just Vortex, and Vortex was there before, but you'd mentioned that you love playing with those different kinds of ammos. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab. So, I do love all that ammo, and this wrist launcher, the Gauntlet XL. I worked on this with my friend Marcus, who's foam.blasted on Instagram. This is kind of a wrist launcher here that fires Mega XL. Little palm paddle. I don't know if we can see. Sorry if that was loud. But I think the coolest thing, and when, and I have, I'll shut that off now so I don't deafen everyone. But I think that is one of the coolest things, that we have all these different calibers and all these different ammo types for games. Like, and we do it in HVZ, sometimes, not every time. It's harder as the events get bigger. But I've ran parties for friends and done things here where we hide a boom dozer with Mega XL in the building. And one guy, it was his birthday, 35-year-old's birthday party. He had a Hades, high capacity rival blaster. The other 8 people at the party had swords. They were like Terminators. So he would hit us and stun us. He had to search this building for the boom dozer to get Mega XL to take us out. So I think being able to do that stuff is just so interesting and so neat. Like, when you get shield busting and you get all those things, and plus it just gives. And Vortex, I do love Vortex. I still kind of break it out and use it fairly often. There's a game that was going around TikTok for a while, the Quiet Place game, where someone's blindfolded And I've ran that a bunch just with like my family, where someone will have, I really love the fuse fire. They'll have like the glow in the dark discs and all the lights out and like some like intense scary music up, and somebody's blindfolded. And Vortex is fun because it bounces really cleanly off walls, so it's like bounces count, and they're trying to take people. That stuff is just cool. And the fact that you can do all that in close quarters and without anyone getting bruised. Like, I've done corporate events, I've done like events in hotels, I've done kids parties with like really little kids, and like teenager parties where we use darts and stuff. Like, that flexibility is super cool. And I love that our magazines in the hobby are more like realistic. Like, as much as I don't want things to be super realistic, I like limitations make games fun. So like 10, 15, 18 round mags, like, it's fun. Like, running out of ammo is when the pressure and the fun starts. Like, I have a proton pack and I love it, but the proton pack is like almost exclusively like goofy fun, or maybe a turret. Like, it's kind of like the problem with gel. Like, it's not my idea of a fun time for everyone to have 500 rounds and just like hide and spray them at each other. So I drifted from your original question, but yeah, like I do love all the ammo for that reason. Just making up games, making up different ways to play, you know?
Right. I was going to ask you about that at some point too, because I know that you've gotten your chance to get your hands on some gel blasters. I have too. I always tell people, don't knock it until you try it. There's some validation and merit, and you know, at times it can be fun. Maybe not necessarily conducive to mixing with foam flinging at the same time. It's its own thing. But how do you feel about gel blasters in general?
So I always say to people, gel blasters can be, I actually bought a bunch of Gelfire Mythics just literally to rent people a package of Gelfire Mythics, like, because a weekend is kind of enough for gel. Like, it is fun. Like, it's all fun, but I just don't quite think, it just gets boring. Like, I've done enough games now with gel where, unless you're really limiting, like making up limits, like only letting yourself do short bursts or things like that, like better blasters like the on-lock blasters or the dart zone blasters help a little bit too. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't get into that like addictive like passion where all the Nerf stuff does. I have mixed in gel into parties before where I will use a couple gel blasters instead of a couple Perseus, just to save myself picking up hundreds of rival balls. So I do think from like a turret perspective, if you're using like a lower power gel blaster and you're outside, I actually think they can kind of mix a little bit. I've done it just to be lazy and cheaper, because rival balls are, you know, that cost adds up when you're firing hundreds of those out into a field. So right. as a lot of us know.
Right.
So it's fine,
well,
I guess.
Well, we have our very first question from, I'm so sorry, from DCM2323. Have you heard of the forearm fryer similar to your gauntlet?
No, the forearm fryer. I don't know what it is, but I want one. I want to make one or buy one.
Too. CCM2323, please let us know what the forearm fryer is. We both are very interested in that.
Yeah.
Please throw some info down in the chat.
Nothing makes me happier than finding out someone else has also done a thing, because they probably did something a little different. They probably did some things better. That's great. That sounds cool. I want to know what it fires too. If it's Mega XL, is it Rival, or what's it do?
Give us the deets. Another thing I know that you really enjoy about the hobby is all the customization that goes along with it. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I'm gonna grab a blaster I got from Alex at Detroit Dartworks. It's kind of one of my it's kind of one of my favorites.
It's my favorite too.
He was nice enough to like customize it a bit. It's kind of cool, and I like it's a fly core blaster. I love goofy things. It has the mag goes in the top. It has this really clever select fire based on like a motorcycle blinker relay, which super smart way to do select fire without having an electronics board or anything like that. Not that that's not great, but I like mods. I like mods that aren't super crazy to fix either. Like I had a wire come loose in this, and it was no big deal. I took it apart, I resoldered it, and I was off to the races. So it was really neat. So yeah, like I mean, there's that, and I just love going to an event and seeing like all the like everyone has things in different colors, whether they're like painting it different colors or they're, they have their, well, to the extreme of like making their own patches, like you or I would, but like it just, people making all their blasters match and like integrations and just there's so much style put into it. And I think part of the reason it can be like that too is because they are kids' toys. They're even the ones we mod, like at their core, they're all pretty simple. Most of them are pretty simple. Obviously, I have a motor tier from Domachevsky. I wouldn't call that super simple, but like, generally like stripes and things like that. Like you can take it apart, you can paint it, you can integrate it with something. Like I just think it's neat when you go to an HVZ and like different teams, like they'll have matching stuff or they'll just do a bunch of like cool stuff that doesn't even really make sense. Like maybe a big master key on something that they won't even need, but just looks cool. Like I think doing things just because it's fun is like, that's the best. Otherwise everyone would just use the same blaster. Like don't tell anyone, but many blasters are the same.
The secret is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Dormacheski. We were just we had someone show up with the rail cleaner. I don't know if you know what that is, but yeah,
I sure
the
do.
rail cleaner made an appearance, and yeah, there's definitely some very very impressive engineering that goes on behind that, and just the way that you're able to customize blasters to your own colors or paint them, even just throwing stickers on them. And then when it comes down to 3D printing, people 3D print their own logos on panels and things like that. And I think the FlyCore system is amazing. It's definitely a game changer in my book just because of how customizable it is. So well done to the designers out there who did that. Very exciting. I kind of put that on the same lines of when the Nexus Pro came out. That I considered that a game changer. Also considered the Band Blaster cages when they came out. They were game changers as well.
For sure. Like for Old Fusion Designs, I have a Quick and a DL44 Meowser. So they're FlyCore, and they also have Band Blasters wheels in them. Like they're honestly like, I was talking to Adam and I really wanted the DL44 and I talked to him about making one just because time and everything. And he's like, "Oh, what do you want it set up for? Like, do you want it practical or whatever?" And I was just like, "Make it. It's the strongest blaster in the galaxy. Make it hit as hard as it can." But the problem when you do that is I don't have a whole lot of use for it. Like I can't do much with it. It hits so hard. It hits like 200 FPS. This little pistol, but it looks cool though.
Not a bad problem to have.
It's not.
CCM 2323 replied back saying they released it last week. It launches Rivals with a ripcord for a trigger. How fun does that sound?
That sounds
amazing.
That sounds super fun. Is there for foam arm fryer? All right, I'll be looking that up and seeing. Hopefully, there's somewhere online I can see some pictures or video or something like that. That sounds really cool. I love the idea of it using a ripcord. I just kind of started using Fusion, so I'm pretty amateur hour. But I really want to do like a little simple blaster that uses instead of a motorized pusher, just uses like a little crank as the pusher. So it's like manual full auto. Because I really like, there's a Connects blaster that uses a big wheel. There's the old, I forget the name of the old Nerf one now, but like from the Max Force line, there's like one that uses a hand crank.
Yep.
Like again, not super practical, but I think it's neat though. So a ripcord, that's awesome.
Um, if anyone in the audience or anyone that is watching would like to ask Maritime Foam a question, please call into the Discord. We'll get you up there and try to answer your question. Also, if there are any questions, again, feel free to drop them down into the chat. CCM 2323 offered to send you a link over IG. We'll get you guys connected at some point.
For sure, yeah. Please do,
that.
and yeah, sounds great.
So one thing that we should discuss, obviously, is that you are a content creator and a pretty successful content creator. How and why did you start creating content?
So the why is it kind of came from. Well, I mean, I think part of it is once I found Out of Darts and Captain Xavier and like all the people that I think you kind of tend to find first when you're looking at modding and stuff. It looks really interesting. You start having your own opinions about things, and I just thought I was like, oh, that might be kind of a fun, like I almost consider making videos to be like yet another aspect of the hobby for me anyway. Like it's not really a separate thing, and I'm pretty grateful for it because I feel like it's, you know, as friendly and welcoming as everyone is, it probably helped me connect with people even a little faster because instead of being like a complete stranger walking up to people saying hello, they're like, oh yeah, like I kind of know something about you, you know, or maybe, and they might know enough to be like, seem fine. So, you know, it helps not scare people away right away. So I think that helped for meeting people too. And like I said, I kind of started doing it there was a period of the pandemic up here anyway, where we were kind of not isolating a whole lot. And I was running a bunch of parties and events, like people had masks on and stuff, and we were doing them outside, but it was fine. But then things tightened back up and I'm like, well, I'm not super comfortable doing that now then. So that kind of gave me a chance to mess around with that a bit. I created my channel in July, didn't really do a whole lot, and then as soon as I finished like my Halloween costume that year, my like views went way up because I was like, oh, I have nothing to do now. So I started like focusing on that a bit more. I mean, I had lots of things I should have been doing. I had nothing to do weird that I wanted to do. So I started kind of focusing on that a bit more.
For those of you that don't know, Maritime Foam is a crazy cosplay creator. If you haven't had a chance to check out some of the costumes that he's created, maybe we can pop those up on screen at some point. Definitely very impressive. So how do you correlate the two? I guess we had discussed at some point that, you know, there is a LARPing aspect in foam flinging sometimes. So how do you see that correlate and with each other?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I actually think there's a ton of crossover. Like, I think I don't know if I think it might have been you and I that were talking about it in the chat that like there's probably a lot of people who go to HVZs or go to events that may not even know that they're LARPing, but like, but they are live action role playing. Like that's not something I'd ever done before this stuff, and I kind of realized doing the HVZ stuff it's like, wait a second, I'm doing missions, I'm here with my squad, we're trying to do video game scenarios. I'm like, this is role playing. So I mean, I think the cool part of the costume crossover is, you know what, people make like, I mean, they make cool kits to wear, they make cool holsters, you know, they might modify aspects of you know, what they're wearing. I've been meaning to do like a big crazy foam blaster build and then just put like the core, like either fly core or maybe use like a Jupiter and just like have like a little blaster core inside of like a cool, because that would let you do like a big giant, not really feasible with 3D printing, insane thing. I mean, it's a little bit, I would say that would cross over a little bit with like what Dr. Flux has done. If you've seen his Doom Guy armor or his Halo armor that he's doing, like,
so cool.
Yeah, super cool. I mean, he has like a Prometheus, like the Prometheus in there for one. He actually does have one where he uses like a Jupiter at the core of like, a big, like I think it's a BFG that he made. So like, I think it's just part of the fun of it. Like it's fun to pretend. It's fun to pretend. It's fun to play. Like, I'm in my mid 40s. I still like to pretend. I still like to goof around and, kind of building different Halloween costumes with my daughter. Like we would do kind of matching ones. Like I was Voltron one year and I did like a Princess Allura, like pilot outfit for her. And we've done kind of a bunch of stuff like that. So like she's getting older, that she kind of wants to do her own thing a bit more. So that's kind of progressed into like, I don't know, me doing more and more builds, but I wouldn't mind doing more builds that actually have a little bit of that like cosplay part, because that's fun when you go to an event too, when you see someone who's like, oh, it's like, it's almost like they're like a boss battle level, or like I think a Cobalt with he has his he has his like clone trooper.
Cobalt's got his stormtrooper getup.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's neat. That's neat stuff on the field, right? Like that's part of the goofy side of it, I guess, that I like too.
So going back to content creation, how do you decide what content you want to create? What would you say your overall approach or philosophy to content creation is? And when did you start gaining traction with your content?
Yeah, so the traction one's pretty easy. So I'll just like get that one out of the way. It literally, I remember before Halloween, my brother-in-law was making fun of me because I was like, "Hey man, can you subscribe? I want to get to 100 so I can have like my name in the URL for my channel." And he's like, "Fine, I'll do that." But then like after Halloween, like posting regularly is generally a very good way to grow. So I was doing stuff regularly. So like that first year was kind of like 0 to 5,000. I had, I mean, this is kind of how YouTube works. I had like a Nerf dog treat launcher video that had like over 1 million views,
Right.
and like this portly female pit bull kind of pulled me up like another 10,000 subs, or at least helped pull me up. And then it's been pretty regular growth since then. Like it's usually like around, like it's kind of settled. At one point I had like 1,000 subs in a day, and like a little part of me was like, is this it? Am I blowing up? And like that petered back off to reality. But like it still goes pretty well. But I think part of why it goes pretty well and pretty steady is, and if anyone's starting a channel, I think there's a few things. I really, and people have very strong opinions on this, but I like YouTube Shorts. I enjoy doing a mix. People talk all day about how like your Shorts audience doesn't always mix with your regular audience with the algorithm and stuff. I just I've always refused to even think about the algorithm. Like I really want to do a video at some point. I'm not saying that the algorithm isn't a factor, but like if you're talking about the algorithm, you might be the problem. Right. Like it might not be the algorithm, it might be you. Like you have to look at what you're doing and what's working and not working too. But like I always enjoyed doing shorts. I would very much just grab what was interesting to me. It was easy to be enthusiastic, and because I'm new, everything was new to me. It's like, look guys, a dart tag blaster. And like for people in the hobby, they're like, yeah, we know. But there's a lot of people who were new who were like, well, that's cool. I've never seen that because it's 8 years old. Like they're not. So I think doing a mix of older thrifted stuff I was finding and longer stuff, like I think that helped it grow. And I really tried to, every comment, I've kind of fallen behind. I'll never catch up now, but like I tried to respond to every comment, or like every comment. I see every comment still, but I don't heart something unless I've decided I'm not going to respond to it, which like, and then I don't respond to it. So it, like I just have like an unending backlog. But I think people have liked the engagement. There's a lot of people that have been following for a long time that like we have discourse back and forth in the comments. Like I'm always happy when they see stuff, and maybe we've talked on Instagram a bit. Maybe I've met them in person. So I think like being into it to kind of meet people and be part of the hobby community has probably helped. And then other than that, put your camera on a tripod. Make sure it's framed okay. Get a light. Nobody wants to watch your video in like a dark basement. Clean your garbage up in the background. We don't want to see your old coffee cups and your underwear. Like, yeah, no, you're looking good. But I just think like because and I'm only doing like a little segue there because like people will be like, oh, it's so hard. No one's watching my video. It's like you got to look at what you're putting up there and ask yourself, would you watch it? And that's why I like shorts. I have long form videos that I've done where I'm like, I don't think I'd watch this. Like I think I enjoy it, so I can ramble. I like the shorts. I think there's an awful lot of reviews that can be pretty fulsome in 60 seconds. So I like a mix. And if I didn't do shorts, I would miss out on talking about so much because I could just never do that much long form.
So I think we're ready to take our first caller, but yeah, I totally agree. My approach has always been, I do a lot of for those that don't know, I do a lot of like gameplay and highlight video reels for events, large scale and just local events in general. But for me, it's always been not about getting the views or subs or likes. It's really just about sharing what I enjoy and what I think people would like watching when it comes to foam flinging. So that's always been my approach, is just to share it, have fun. If people watch it, great. If not, no worry, but at least you put your effort, you're being productive, and you're getting out there in some way or form. And at some point, some people will watch it. And hopefully enjoy it as well. And I definitely do agree that the shorts format that is available now, there's definitely something to it. I don't know if you have heard or know, but Talanax Armory, who does a lot of content, does a lot of shorts. But their subscription went up like 2,000 subs, like in a matter of a day or a weekend. And I think a lot of that is because of that format and that it's steady and regular content. So
For sure. We should, if we have time, we should touch on the pros and cons when it comes to like monetization, because some people might be interested, but I want to hold up the caller.
sure.
But if we have time, because there's interesting stuff there too.
For sure. We have our first caller, a General Strife. What it do?
I'm currently working on my first mod, and it's going to be an integration between a rapid strike and a tornado. What can I do to mess it up?
Oh, you know what? I haven't done a lot of integrations, but I mean, I think the main thing you can do for the integration part is like remove plastic real slow, test fit a lot because it's a lot easier to take off more than it is to put more back on. And for like if you're upgrading the wiring or if you're doing anything like that to the Strife, just the nice thing about having a Strife as your base is did you said Rapid Strike? I'm sorry, didn't you?
Strike, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I got confused because you were General Strife. You're General Strife with the Rapid Strike. I get it. The good thing there is there's a lot of really good references. I would check out Captain Xavier's. He has like a whole overview that he does with like click circuits where he just explains through the whole Rapid Strike wiring and all of that, like to really understand. Because I know when I did my first few mods, I didn't even really know what the switches did. Like, I mean, I kind of knew what they did, but like, I didn't know what normally open, normally closed, on common. I didn't know what the labels meant. I just did exactly what I saw the person do. Actually, like Brad American Foam, like he's one of the first guys I used to do like a Raven. Like the understanding for me kind of came later after the doing. So I think if you want to like play it safe, get a little bit more understanding under your belt up front. And like other than that, don't if it ends up a little janky, don't worry about it. Just use some filler, sand it down, or just like roll with that and paint it green and make it Zombie Strike or something. There's no way to mess it up. You'll be fine. It'll be good.
Yeah, in the words of our good friend Al the Geek, don't worry about it, just do it.
That's right.
Thank you for calling in. Again, if anyone else would like to call in, feel free to hop in the Discord. Also, if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the live chat on YouTube. I forgot to mention, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but we will be doing a t-shirt giveaway to anyone that is currently watching on the Discord or the YouTube channel. So make sure that you are a World Foam Alliance member and you've registered on the site, as well as currently be watching the stream.
I just want to jump in for one quick second to say hello to, I see in the YouTube chat, Foam Flinging Phil is saying hello. Foam Flinging Phil and a couple of his friends, his other friend Stevie Shoots Darts, his friend sent me a note on TikTok and was like, "Hey, I really like your channel." It kind of like helped encourage me to do a channel. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I never really do giveaways. I don't do a lot of that stuff. And I remember how cool it was the first time I was sent something. So I sent Stevie back a note and I'm like, I'm going to send you guys something. Get your mom or dad to send me a Gmail and I'm going to send you guys something. So I sent those guys 3 Mark IIIs because they were on sale. So check out Foam Flinging Phil on YouTube. He's him and his friends are making some stuff. They're messing around. They're the younger generation of content creators. So I gave them some dangerous foam flinging toys and sent them on their way.
Use the comment YouTube chat only. So let's see. I just got word from they have to use the phrase "I love Foam Zone." So if you would like to win a t-shirt, you must be in the YouTube chat and please use the phrase "I love Foam Zone." So
we're just being asked there too if we have a link to the Discord in the YouTube chat.
Get the man behind the curtain to drop that link if that's possible. Otherwise, we'll try to have it in the description. So on to, also I just wanted to back to tips for being content creation. The secret was having the dog, right? To getting
the secret was I think like I think the secret too is don't overthink it too. I've definitely had videos where I thought this is gonna do so well. Like I have a video that on TikTok had like almost 18 million views, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna be crazy on YouTube. It like was a couple thousand. Like you don't know. There's a lot of factors, and if you're just doing it for that, you're gonna be real disappointed. Like it has to be fun. Like that's what when I do short stuff, a lot of time it's almost like vlogging. Like it's just sharing stuff in the moment. I'm not too concerned. I mean, of course, like you want people to see it, but it's hard to predict. Like you really don't know.
So one thing that people may not know about you is you mentioned that you have hosted birthday parties and corporate parties with foam flinging, but you also have a coffee shop that does board games as well as it having its own Nerf section. Talk about that.
So my partner Susan, she and her business partner own it's called Offline Board Game Cafe. It's here in St. John. This is the kind of the newest iteration of it. The COVID was really not great for a business model that involved friends getting together, eating food, and all touching the same thing. But it's open again and doing well. And there was a space in the middle that we kind of netted in. And it's not a very big arena, but it's I've had a lot of fun. Like I'll run parties for like 8 to 10 kids. I've had my favorite parties have been when there'll be like 3 or 4 parents and 3 or 4 kids. It's like, kind of like the parents coming with like the aunts and uncles and a couple cousins. And like, it's just cool to see everyone trying out. I let people try out modded stuff, but honestly, to people who aren't super familiar, a Percy's is a modded blaster. Like they try a Percy's and they're like, what? Or a Prometheus? They're like, this is insane, because they haven't done anything Nerf-wise in a long time, if ever. So that's been really fun. Like I do kind of some of the games I'll do there is I'll just do like really simple King of the Hill with like a chess clock timer, like stuff you'd be familiar with doing at a bigger scale, but just like really small, quick games, but just things that making sure that no one's ever like tagged out for too long. Like it's a lot of team lives. You are terminated as a team. I'll do little mini humans versus the undead type things where like it goes real fast, where I'll usually be the starting zombie, so the kids will just like pepper me for like 5 minutes, like relentlessly, because I can't catch like one of, and then but eventually they'll like have something jam, I'll catch them, and then it's like everyone's a zombie. So like it's fun. It's been a good way to introduce it. I've had a lot of repeat people come back. A lot of people kind of check out YouTube. A lot of people say they want to mod things. So I'd like to do some like mod club things and stuff like that. So just trying to spread the word.
Absolutely. So I mentioned before that we met at EndWar 2022. What events have you been to, and what do you love about going to these events?
So the very first one that I went to was in Pennsylvania. It was Grove City. I was invited down to that. Fran's Foamworks sent me a little package. It was the first thing I was ever sent to review. They sent me the Stringer Blaster and a few other pieces, and I thought that was so nice of them to do that. I did the review, and I don't know what my sub count was then, maybe 400, 500 maybe. So I thought that was really nice, knowing too it's expensive to ship something up here. Like they're not a big corporation. They're, you know, that's hard to do when you're when you're a smaller shop. So there was an invite, the invite to Grove City, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go. What a good time to go. I'm gonna kind of know some people there. So that was great. Met a lot of people at that. So it was really fun. Definitely made me want to go again to something. So that I did go to EndWar that same year, I guess it was. Yeah, it was that same year to EndWar, which again, I saw some of those Maryland people again and got to know, yeah, that's right. And then got to know people a little bit better still. EndWar, I mean, I've done wrap-up videos on EndWar. A lot of us have. It was not a perfect event, but I certainly had a lot of fun. And then I think the next one after that really was then we have Maryland Mayhem, one of my favorites to this date. Like by this point, had been talking a lot more online with different people down there, so it really felt more like, oh, I'm going to go visit friends and we're going to play some games. Like, lots of going to eat in between and hanging out with people, going to Applebee's, all the things you do during an HVZ. So that was great. And then, you know what? That Foam Nation event in Pennsylvania, again, that was a smaller HVZ, but darned if it wasn't, like, from a fun perspective, almost as much fun as Maryland. Not that it was as big in scope, but just well-designed HVZ, like a lot of fun, really used all the different ammo types, which really spoke to me, like zombies that specifically needed Mega or specifically needed XL or specifically needed socks. And when I go to all these, it's like a 16 to 19 hour drive. So you gotta really like it.
Yeah.
To do
no,
that.
I remember you made we were keeping tabs on where you were, and I think it started at 12-hour trip, and then it was 14-hour trip, and then at some point there was a nap in between, and then it was like 16 hours, but you showed up, and we had a lot of fun. And I appreciate
Luckily, Maryland too, I was able to bring a friend too to split the drive. My friend Matt came, who had like no Nerf history at all, but he's a competitive guy, so he was really intrigued by the tournament and stuff. So it was nice to have company on the drive. So hopefully I'll have company again at some point.
Yeah, I remember, Matt. We at the beginning of the tournament for the Maryland Foam tournament, I gave a speech about not having any disputes. Let's not have any disputes. And your team, the double mega double XLs, had the first match. I forget who you were playing. Maybe it was Uno +5, but basically at the end of round 2, I think it was, Matt raised his hand. Yes, I would like to dispute. So that will.
I was like, yeah. So a little bit of that Eye of the Tiger that I hadn't seen before.
I just want to say we are doing a t-shirt giveaway. So if you would like to win a free t-shirt and you are in the live chat on YouTube, please use the phrase "I love Foam Zone." This is the last call to enter, and we will announce the winner towards the end of the stream. So I just mentioned this, but you played for the Mega Double XLs with Captain Xavier, Al the Geek, Wolfguard, Nate, and Trey Devil. Tell us a little bit about your experience with the Mega Double XLs. People would love to hear it.
Yeah,
I think I qualified to play on that team as well, so maybe sometime in the near future.
That really came from when I went to End War. I did watch part of the Pro Tour. I thought like it looks really cool. Like it's not definitely, I mean, and really to be like super competitive, it's good to be a smaller target as well. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. It'd be fun to play that, but like I wouldn't. Anyway, like I don't play. I'm not close enough. Like there was no way in my head to actually like be on a team or try to be on a team. Like I wouldn't want to do that to someone who wanted to win. So talking with Al and joking around with him, and Al was gracious enough to go along with it. He's a pretty jump on board kind of guy. We decided that we would just make a team out of people who would never qualify to get on another team. So if we were on a team together, we would we wouldn't get kicked off. Now, and also it was the Mega Double XLs because in the beginning it was mostly just larger targets like myself and Al. So we kind of cheated it in the end. Matt's a pretty small target, and he was actually pretty good. We had Trey, who is also, he's a great player. He doesn't fall into that wouldn't make another team. Mostly by the end of it, I feel like it was just me that was the wouldn't make another team, but they can't kick me out. I made the logo. So, but it was good. And you know what? I thought it was so great that people were very, to my knowledge, people were really good and really supportive. Like no one was like, oh, like what a waste of time that there's like a filler team here, or, people were just really good. Like people were very encouraging. People were very supportive. Like they were just like, oh, I think that's really cool that you guys are playing in this and that you're doing that. We did win one round, and I heard on the sidelines, I heard someone go, it was like, they just got beat by the double XLs. Like that was the ultimate diss, but I get it. It's fair. So it was a cool experience. I was super grateful to have gotten to do that. And I would do it again, like with no expectations other than get out on the field. And instead, like, it's just fun. Instead of that being an aspect that's a spectator thing, to do it was really fun.
So would it be safe to say we can expect a return of the double mega double XLs next year?
I hope so. I would do it again. I would do it again for sure. I feel like there's been a lot of, maybe there needs to be like a secondary league. I feel like there's a lot of interest from, like, I do think there are a lot of people who are interested but intimidated about playing, and I admit for me, I can fanboy. I was like, when we were playing against the team with, Beret and Luke from Out of Darts, I was like, oh, I'm playing against those guys, but that can be kind of intimidating. So I think it's, we welcome all. Maybe there needs to be a double XL sub team. Maybe there'll be a whole branch out of double XL teams. We'll
Mega
see.
Ultras? I don't know.
Like it.
So let's see. Just real rapid fire question.
Yeah.
Favorite Springer?
He's not much of a Springer guy. What would my favorite one be? If I was gonna pick I'm like looking around. It's so many flywheelers here. Oh God. You know what? My favorite Springer, I'm gonna say, at least one of my most used Springers is like an X-Shot Reflex 6. It's just such a little. I like pull them out in the arena. They always are snappy, even with crappy darts. Like even with the curse of community darts, they like generally will fire. They're just a great little no-nonsense blaster. So that's not very exciting, but that's what comes to mind.
Favorite flywheeler?
Oh, all of them. That's hard.
I'm the same way.
One of my favorites, though, is I have a Nerf Ultra 2 that's converted with the Gavin Fuzzy kit to fire 9 elite darts.
Okay.
It's the stock motors. It fires elite darts just shy of 100 FPS. I've used it in a couple HVZs, and just like topping in from the back, like it's such a cool looking blaster. And if you get rid of the ultra part, and I'm not even like a big ultra hater, but if you get rid of the ultra part, what a consistently fun little blaster with like with a mod that's not super out of reach for people. Like I don't think anyone wouldn't enjoy using that. Nerf would be, they're crazy to not put out another one like that fires elites. Like whether they put it in the Fortnite line or Elite 2.0. I hope they don't do Elite 2.0, but like maybe the Wildlands edition, those have been a little bit better. But like they're crazy to not do another one of those. That's such a great format. And then other than that, like I mean, obviously, like literally everything I have hanging up is a flywheeler. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a flywheeler guy myself. It's tough to choose for sure. Sorry to put you on the spot like that.
No,
They're
sorry,
all our
that was
babies.
not, that was
Give
not
me
a quick
all
answer.
the flywheelers. And of course,
Yeah.
and RJ, our good friend RJ Foam Juggernaut says, "Give me all the ammo."
Oh yes.
And then what's your favorite silly ammo blaster or novelty blaster?
I mean, I do have to be a little bit biased and say, the old Gauntlet is one of my favorite novelty blasters. I've sold 13 of these now, which kind of blows my mind. And mostly I'm only limited by the fact I just can't make them that quickly. It's not perfect by any stretch, but I always enjoy it. Like I've taken it to parties I've ran. I got recognized on the streets. Like some kid was like, "You're the guy with the arm thing." I'm like, "Oh yeah." So it's one of my favorite goofy ones. Other than that, I love Vortex. The Fuse Fire is one of my favorite blasters of all time, and it's a Springer. Actually, that's one of my favorite Springers. I love glow in the dark. It has such a cool look to it. Fires Vortex. So fun.
Yeah. Boomstick Mod runs the Gauntlet religiously at events now, and I am very jealous, so we will have to talk after this.
It makes me super happy. It's super nice of him that he's done that, because like I have like all these pictures now of it being used in every configuration, and we implemented a little bit of his feedback too to make it a bit more practical, and which it's super cool. Not only that he got one, but just like he's been really good about testing it out. He's tested it as much as or more than I have.
Sure. If anyone would like to call in, we can take one more call-in question to Maritime Phone. Call in on the Discord and we'll get you in. We're about to announce the winner, but we shall continue. We just talked about the Gauntlet, and just tell us a little bit about how that came about.
I mean, that really came from. And I want to do more of this stuff. Like this is an old Iron Man toy. It was a Springer. It fired like a low FPS dart. I kind of hacked this up and put a cage in it and some old flywheels and a little micro switch and a 9-volt battery. And this fired a mega dart. So this was like one night of I was like, well, I wonder if I can just build something that will fire a Mega XL dart in an evening. So it kind of started with this just because I liked the idea of it. There weren't any at the time, or if there were, I wasn't aware of any Mega XL flywheelers. And I am a flywheel guy, so I thought that'd be fun. And then luckily, I kind of showed this to my pal Marcus, and he's like, I'd love to help out with something like that if you wanted to make it, like if you wanted to keep working on it. So yeah, it kind of just came from that. And at some point, I'm sure Marcus was sorry he ever offered to work with me on it, because it took, we both have kids, we're a few time zones apart. But yeah, we would chat pretty often, and he'd send files when he could, and I'd do builds when I could. And over about 9 months or so, we got it to the point. It's whenever anyone like recommends a new thing for it, I'm just like, project's got to end. It's like it's at a great spot as what it is right now. Not that it couldn't be better, but it's done for now. So yeah, it just kind of came. It's a good little bonding thing for him and I. Like it was cool. We had a good time. I think just chatting about it and seeing it come to life.
All right. So we are going to announce the winner of the free t-shirt. We appreciate everyone that entered with the phrase "I love Foam Zone." The winner is, by random draw, Frugal Foam by Gargunkel, which we know,
Ooh.
our good friend. So congratulations. Go ahead and email us your contact information at WFA underscore team at worldfoamalliance.org, which can also be found on the World Foam Alliance website. So do we have any callers? I don't see any callers, so we shall continue. Where do you see yourself and the hobby in the future, and things like the Strife X coming out? Where do you see that?
Yeah, I think I think there's good and bad. I think the good thing is I love anything that puts, now I'm going to say accessible. It's expensive, so that means it's not entirely accessible. But it does get to a point where if you're building something like this from scratch, either that's not that accessible either. So I do think from like for those who are investing in, if you can afford to play paintball or airsoft or something, this is a good, easy way to get you into a blaster that's pretty zippy. And, that 150, 160 that it does fits with a lot of kind of like mid FPS club stuff that people seem to do. I think that's great. Like, I like modding stuff, but when I did a night of games over at the cafe with people, that 150 FPS night, we used pretty much all Dart Zone stuff because it was already done. I didn't have to like divide up my lipos or like, it's like modded stuff is a lot of fun, but I always say to people, like, if you're going to play with modded blasters, you really should learn to mod because things are going to break, things are going to go wrong. Like, so there's a real advantage to something coming from a factory already like this. My biggest worry with the Strife X, if anything, would be I hope that because it is so powerful and you can just get it in a store, I just hope we don't get any like newsworthy bad injuries, of someone losing an eye or something like that. Like that I think is with more people and more visibility, the risks for that go up. I mean, they're there now with the Dart Zone stuff. But the other thing too is I just hope that you don't get more where it's more in the public eye and it's Nerf. I hope we don't get into like new laws or anything like that. Like, no Nerf in the park because someone got hit by a stray dart because people weren't being careful. Like, we know what kind of trouble Gel has been into with, people acting stupid has contributed to that. But like, more visibility, it comes with a lot of good. More people, more interest, more hobbyists. More hobbyists does mean we're all just people. It means more stupid people too. So it means more of the good people and more of all the people, and the chances of someone doing something dumb gets higher. So I hope I hope that works out. But I think overall it's a very positive step.
Yeah. What I've been telling people is, the Strife X isn't necessarily directed towards our hobby community, people that already do modding and everything. It's really for little Timmy and his mom to see on the store shelf and see that, and then kind of be introduced to our hobby space and, learn from that point. So I personally am pretty excited about it. I pre-ordered one and am just waiting for October 15th to release. But yeah, I think it's going to be a positive, hopefully positive, influence on our hobby once it's released, and should be interesting. I'm really excited for the future, just in general, to see where things are going. I always tell myself, what else can they do? I feel like we're really spoiled at this point with every option that is available out there between 3D printed blasters, injection molded, and modded blasters just in general. So
and say what you will too about Nerf, they make nice shells. They're nice. They are nice blasters to mod. So even like the constant cry of people going, Nerf is dead, bro. It's like they're like, it's, first of all, not everything is for like people. We tend to get very focused on, is it for me? If it's not for me, then nobody wants it.
Right.
And so it's dead. Like, it's a very different audience. But even for like the higher even for like, the pro line of stuff or the X stuff, like if we get an X rapid strike, or maybe they make up their own new thing, like it's going to be a nice shell. It's it's going to be pretty good quality. I think they're setting a good bar with the Stripe X. It's a solid blaster. It's not. People were comparing it to the Omnia, and for value and all that, like the Omnia. I mean, we all know the Omnia had some issues anyway. But even without the issues aside, like the Omnia does have a circuit board for select fire. It has a different type of pusher. It has a lot more to go wrong too. Like I would bet you if you used an Omnia for years and a Stripe X for years, 15 years from now, you're going to pull that Stripe X out of a bin and, well, depending on the battery, it'll work right away. But and even when people talking about like, oh, the battery's proprietary, well, then that's where the modders can come in. I'm sure we'll have battery cases that will fit right in there that you can use other battery sources. Like you start modding and you learn that no battery is truly proprietary ever. So.
Absolutely. And just for the record, I do have an Omnia that shoots straight, so I'm sure there's others that are out there as well. So, but I am looking forward, and I must applaud Dart Zone for doing what they're doing to remedy and fix the issues.
For
with
sure.
the Omnia.
No,
So,
I'm looking forward to trying out the new one for sure.
absolutely.
Things do happen. It's just important that they get addressed and fixed, right?
For sure. Absolutely. So we're almost at that time, or we are at that time. Where can people find you? I do want to talk real quickly. You have your own live streaming show, Friday Night Foam. Tell a little bit people about that and where they can catch you and where people can find you online and get merch and interact with you.
Sure. So come on over to Maritime Foam on YouTube. You can find me there doing shorts and long form. I'm also on TikTok at Maritime Foam. I will admit my TikTok is mostly just reposts of my YouTube shorts, but there's a lot of people there, so I still do it as it's a good way to introduce new people to it. I'm also on Instagram at Maritime Foam. Instagram, I think, is 5 people away from hitting 1,000. It is the hardest platform in the world to grow. So if 5 of you could go over and just hit like, so that part of my brain that wants numbers to be even could be happy about Instagram, I'd really appreciate it. But Instagram is kind of where partly I think why I haven't had good growth there is I still post photos because I think it's fun to post something different there. So I post photos of builds or things that are going on. And that's generally where if you have a question or a mod question, I will accept most DMs or all the ones that I can catch. If you have a question, I'm happy to chat with you over the Instagram chat. That just seems to be the easiest place to do it. So everywhere I'm at, it's at Maritime Foam.
Excellent. You heard it, guys. Everyone in this live chat should be heading over to IG and hitting follow. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Next Wednesday will be the next episode of Get Off My Lawn with Captain Xavier and Al the Geek. They will be having Welcome as their special guests, as well as a giveaway for, I believe, a custom painted Al the Geek Max Striker blaster. So that should be exciting. Again, live streaming next Wednesday at 8 to 10 p.m. on the World Foam Alliance YouTube channel. If you'd like to interact and call in and be a guest, of course, join the Discord chat for that. But otherwise, yeah, we will be back in 2 weeks. I believe our next guest will be Jangular to talk about the Ragnaroktober event that is finally and definitely happening in October. So that should be exciting, as well as some competition play, PvP play. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. Anthony, aka Maritime Foam, thank you so much for your time and effort and all your contributions to the hobby. Everyone should like, subscribe, and follow. And otherwise, I am Andrew, aka Dart Sweep, and we will see you on the next episode of The Foam Zone.
Thank you very much, Andrew. That was a ton of fun. If you're looking for more streaming, go check out that American Foam stream. Thanks so much.